Today what I'm doing is fixing up a cast iron. Cooking on cast iron is the way to go. This one is actually, I picked it up at Walmart and I just really like the way that it looked. It's got this nice handle on it. I went there fully expecting to buy a Lodge, and I actually did buy two of these. I bought a Lodge as well. I bought an 8-inch Lodge and I bought this 12-inch. Funny enough, it says Pioneer Woman on it, and so I guess I'm a Pioneer Woman. I don't know, but I just liked the design of this cast iron, so I picked it up. Now it was $29. It was $30, and it's a little more expensive than a Lodge, but both this and the Lodge, you can't cook out of this. Buying it like this. This is way too rough. It's almost like sandpaperish. So what I'm going to do before I can even cook on this thing, and cast iron is the way to go. It's the best way to cook. And people struggle with it and everything sticks and whatever, and it's because you get it like this and you try cooking and you cannot cook in this. Everything will stick to this. So what you have to do is you take a little palm sander, sand all of this inside down to it smooth. You don't have to take it all the way off, but you just smooth it. So that's what I'm going to do first and foremost, and then rinse it out, clean it, and then you got to season it with oil in your oven. So good stuff. So we will get to it. Okay, we're going to leave this thing just right here and do it from here. You just take your little palm sander. This is an 80 grit, and I'm just going to go over it. And since I'm going to remove this thing because it kind of gets in the way, so yeah, much better. Ready? That's pretty smooth, but I think we can get it smoother. This thing does a really good job with this curve here. You can kind of go do the curves. It's really nice, but it's smoothing out. You want it smooth. A little bit more. smoothing out pretty good. I'm going to call that good. I'm going to call that smooth enough. So we need to go wash this all out now. So let's go in the house and do that. Okay, as always with any cast iron, you do not use soap. Ever. You never use soap on cast iron. You just dip it in here and kind of just wash it with water. A lot of black coming out of there. Yeah. Cool that off. I can't even get my hand in there. It's too hot. Just kind of loosen that black junk off, get it out of there. Alright, and then we'll just come over here to the oven. I'll just kind of wipe this thing out a little bit. And we're going to use this big burner. Just kind of medium heat. Just set it on there. We're going to dry this good until it's a little hot. Not super hot, just pretty good and hot. And I'm going to heat my oven. I'm going to preheat the oven to 375. Okay, make sure there's nothing in there. Well, I got 2 cast irons in here. This is my cornbread cast iron. I basically use that exclusively for cornbread. So we will dry this off good. So I'll let that go for a few minutes until it's just kind of warm to the touch a little bit. Be right back. Okay, so it's been on for just a handful of minutes, really, just 3-4 minutes. And I'm starting to feel good warmth. It's actually getting kind of warm. I'm turning the heat off. You're getting good warmth on here. That means it's good to go. So what I'm going to do, I season my cooking area. I'm using olive oil for the cooking area. Every other area on this I'm going to use just regular old vegetable oil on the bottoms, the sides, the handles, all of that, the outside sides. And I'm going to go ahead and get that off of the yeah. And now when you're rubbing your oil in, I have an oil rag right here. This is basically a t-shirt. I cut off a piece of a t-shirt, because you don't want to use anything that gets lint, because if you have lint get in here when you're rubbing it and the lint gets off on there, it'll season the lint into your pan, into the seasoning. You don't want that. So I'm going to use olive oil. I'm going to use a pretty good amount, generous. Just, like that, I guess. And I will just take and rub that in. You don't want a lot. It's just to cover it. just a covering. All you're trying to do is cover. Okay. That's good right there, just like that. But I'm going to flip this over, set it down, and I'm going to get the bottoms and everything, kind of use a different part of my rag, and I'm gonna put some of this just cooking oil on here. And that's a lot, but it's okay. Rub it in good. Make sure you get all the excess off. Just really rub it in good. Get your handle and just continue this. And after I do this, I'm going to take my rag over, I'm going to rinse it with some hot water and kind of wring it and then hang it up on here, and it'll dry pretty good while I'm waiting, because you're going to cook this in this oven for an hour. Okay, now I'm going to open up my oven, and I'll set this in here upside down. Okay, it's upside down. We're going to leave it there. We're going to set it there and leave it for an hour. After it's preheated, it's going to sit there for an hour and bake. So we'll be back after that. Okay, so I put my other iron pan in there. There's the one that I did. What I ended up doing was resanding that one down after the first time I seasoned it. I just wasn't quite satisfied because I sanded down the other one, the smaller one, and I was more satisfied because I used an 80 grit and then I used a 120 and really sanded it down good. And I was like, I want to go back and redo the other one. Just, I'll never have to do it again. So I decided to just go ahead and resand, even though I had just seasoned it for the first time. I decided to resand it down again with the 120 grit and really try to get it as smooth as glass, or as close to as I could get. It's iron, it's cast iron, so it's naturally going to have little pits in it or whatever. You're going to season over that. But I wanted it to be as absolutely glassy as I could get it. So I'm happy now. I'm satisfied with that. And I just got them both in for their first seasoning. So it's still preheating. The oven is actually still preheating. And once it gets to temp, we'll go for an hour. And that'll be the first seasoning. And then I'm going to do it to both of those pans about 5 times. Maybe 6. The goal is to get them looking like this guy right here. This one is about 20 years old. This was one of the first things I bought after I got divorced, was this. Something to cook on. And this has a nice glassy feel. The only thing is I did not know how to take care of cast iron back in the day. And I overheated this thing so badly that it actually got a little warp in here, and it doesn't sit. I'll show you. The oven's preheated. It does not sit flat. It's like bowled in the center. It won't sit flat because I ruined it. I warped it by just way overheating it. I didn't know what I was doing, but it's still good. I use it for baking. This is my baking skillet. I'll bake biscuits in it or cornbread, But I don't cook on the stovetop with this guy. It's just strictly baking. And then I have this griddle. And that's a pretty nice finish on the griddle. Yeah. All right, cool. Okay, and this is after the first, these two pans right here. That griddle is not part of this. These two guys are my new skillets that I bought, and this is after the first seasoning. After I sanded down and put the first seasoning. This one you can really see it's got a gold tint to it. You can see how that is gold, and this one's like a dark gold. That's after the first seasoning. I'm going to go ahead, fire the oven back up. These are nice and easy to handle now. No problem. So I'm going to go ahead and, well, you know what I'm going to do? Let me set the camera up. And I'll go ahead and turn my oven back on. This is my oil rag. Turn my oven back on. Bake. I go to 375. Start. So it's preheating, and so as it preheats, I'll go ahead and oil these things. And I'm not going to do the bottom side. I'll wipe the bottom sides just a little bit, but not much. Just a little oil there. A little oil there. And okay. And I will just kind of, these are going to be beautiful. They're going to work great. They're just going to cook great. Okay. And this one. You can just see that it's putting a shine on this. I'm not trying to really make this super wet with oil. Just a grazing, if that's the right word. Just an oiling, a very light oiling is all you're trying to do. Okay, and that's it. That's seasoning number 2. We'll go ahead and pop these babies in the oven. Right. And we're preheating. Okay, I'm gonna put it upside down and your hands get oily. Okay. Put it upside down. And there. And that is all she wrote. And I'll take this and just kind of rinse it and wring it, and then hang it over the back of the stove there. Just kind of hang it over the back of the stove and it'll dry. So yeah, that's seasoning number 2. All right, and after 4 seasonings, these two guys, look at how glossy they look. It's a little bit of a gold. It's not black, it's gold. It will turn black over time. But that is just slick. Yeah, nice, slick, seasoned cooking surface. That is how you season your cast iron. And yeah, just every time you use it, go ahead and season it again after you use it, and it'll eventually get that black sheen on it like these two guys. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, give me a thumbs up and a like. And we'll see you next time on the next Randomness. Bye. See you then.